What's going on, guys? It's your boy Random Guy Kev, and this is Thoughts of a Random Guy. We talk about many things dealing with love, dating, relationships, adulting, life's ups and downs, and the ever evolving world of just being a human. Don't forget to check me out on all your favorite social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website at randomguykev.com. Today's topic is we're going back, we're revisiting life skills, and we're taking a deeper dive into it with my co host for this episode.
Dan.
Hello, Dan. Thank you for joining me again for this episode. Let's get
Th-
into it.
thanks for having me.
So, when we last spoke a lot about life skills, we talked about kind of like the five, life skills that everybody should have: domestic skills, financial skills, job skills, relationship skills, self care skills. But, I mean, a lot of times, not everybody's placed in a place to get all those skills. You kind of learn them as you get older, or sometimes you never learn them at all. Being that, when I was younger, I always had some type of chore to do. I consider that kind of like learning those domestic skills like cooking, cleaning, household maintenance. My dad would show me, hey, this is how I do this on the boiler, or how I fix the plumbing here. This is how I cut grass. This is how I do this. And, a lot of people never have or had that opportunity with people in their life to show them that. And I feel like for me, I'm blessed. I'm very happy. I don't mind cleaning. I love cleaning. I essentially kind of quote unquote have OCD when it comes to certain things being like so much clutter. I can't do clutter. And so like if my yard looks a specific way, I gotta go out there, cut the grass. Let me give it a little shape up real quick. And then kind of keep it moving. And when it comes to household maintenance, sometimes don't get me wrong, you can pay people to do certain things, but feeling that satisfaction of completing something yourself and doing it yourself without having to spend money, I feel like that's great. And that jumps into your financial skills, money management. What are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, I mean, the big thing, for me, I've done a lot in the past year, even the past few months, I've been trying to, get a lot of things slowly sorted. Um, Definitely the financial skills is my big thing for 2024 is, budgeting is really, challenging for me like to adhere to. I never really had that growing up of like, you know, what should I be, should I be saving my money and doing this? And like, I got my, I'm a teacher. So with that, they're like, okay, now, the school makes, matches contribution to your retirement and you have your whatever. So it's like, oh, well, now how are you going to invest all that? How aggressive, are you going to be?
Yeah.
And it's just like, keeping up. It's like having a list like of I really have been trying to adhere to more of like having a calendar when it comes to like a lot of monetary related things, like when I have to, doing my taxes, or like, my taxes are separate from, my mortgage. When am I paying my mortgage a month? It's a lot of planning and making sure that you can, knowing you're living within your means, which not everybody
Mm-hmm.
necessarily knows, you know, not everybody necessarily knows how to do. And it's like, how much money should I be putting away versus, spending on myself or things around the house that I may need. The hardest part is like so many, households and people are living paycheck to paycheck in America. And so like if something terrible happens, like a medical emergency or like a house emergency, like that could add up. I just literally this week, one of my pipes on my main water line sprung a leak, and I was like, oh, man, this could be a nightmare. I could need a plumber. So luckily, I was shown how to do, make repairs on pipes before, but I was just like, it's my main pipe. I don't want to mess it up too bad. So I had my dad come over and we, got through it together and fix a pipe. But man, like, it's hard when like unexpected expenses come up. Oh, look, suddenly, a tire popped in your car and you're like, well, now I got to spend all this money and replace at least two of them, if not all of them. It's like
Yeah.
managing your money is going to bring you so much ease, and that's kind of the next phase for me is like financial skills.
Yeah, I feel like you got to learn to say no. That's
Oh my
real.
gosh,
You got to learn to say no sometimes.
that was so hard. That
Hey,
was
you want
so
to go
hard
out to
for
do
me
that?
to do.
Nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm
Yeah.
okay. Like
That's
that takes strong will because like the amount of food posts I put on my Instagram, I'd be like, damn, I want to hit that
it's
place.
too much,
I
Kev.
want to
It's
hit that
too.
place too.
I'm
I,
like,
like I
I
just
sit at home. I open your Instagram, story, and I'm like, kind of feeling hungry. I guess I need to, I could really go for wings or a Nashville hot chicken sandwich or
yeah.
some loaded fries or some birria right now. I'm like,
Nah,
ugh.
let me go sit down and make some macaroni and cheese or something
Right.
like you got to know when to say no, especially once your financial skills kick in, you just kind of all right, no,
Yeah.
I can't do this, no. Yeah, money management is definitely hard, and I wish like we learned that earlier in school versus learning other bullshit because money management is a huge thing.
Right. It's so
The,
important to know how to, because you're paying, however many, you have bills to pay and a multitude of bills, and then once you're an adult now, so you got to pay you for your car insurance and your life
mm-hmm.
insurance, your health insurance, your dental, your mortgage, or your rent if you're, and some of those things are hard to it's just like if you don't balance out for it, then you're like, oh man, guess I don't have power for the
Yeah,
month, and
word. Like,
that's terrible.
yeah, no, definitely. It's like again, you have to sacrificing sometimes. You got to say no and not like okay, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. Fuck it,
Ugh,
it's dead for that. And then yeah,
that's been one of the like biggest things that I've kind of been trying to do in the last, like I used to always be like, yeah, let's go out, yeah, let's do all this for like the whole time that I was in college, always like willing to go out, and then COVID happened and everything slowed down. I'm like, And the past year, I've been a lot more of like, maybe I won't go out. Me and my girlfriend were like, you know what? We'll just stay at home and cook something. If we stay for like a week or whatever, we'll just have everything in the house and we'll go shopping and we'll have more food and it'll save us some money, which, we're always trying to do, always, so.
yeah. I mean, and that, bro, that's always the wave. Now let's like with the domestic skills and the financial skills. I feel like not all of us again not all of us learn every one of these skills. We learn them at a younger age, some of us learn them at an older age. It's just like as you go through life you kind of have to learn some of these. And then job skills, learning how to write a resume. Bruh, I didn't learn how to write a resume. Some people were learning how to write resumes in high school. I didn't really learn how to write a resume until college. Or and then I kind of searched how to do it and I was like, oh, okay. Then I took a class. And then the other thing is negotiating a salary. People think you can't negotiate your salary. You can. They tend to give you like a range. Okay, between 60 to 80,000. Give me that fucking 80,000, dog.
Right.
Go reach for the sky. All they can do is say no. We can meet you at 75. All right, cool.
Right.
I'm good with that.
If you
But like,
go in, if you go in asking for the max and you're anticipating the minimum, anything more than that, you're just
yeah.
like, oh, that's great. Hopefully there's other things that like insurance or whatever that kind of come along with that in a package to
Mm-hmm.
help you out. But you know, yeah, negotiating salary like
Yeah,
or
you got.
knowing how to ask for a raise,
Mm-hmm.
like it's such an uncomfortable thing to feel like to not be like feel like I'm groveling, be like, please sir, can I have more crumbs,
And
please?
I think that's a societal thing though,
Oh, I would
where
agree.
it's like, hey, damn, I feel like it's wrong for me to ask for a raise. No, bitch. I've been working here for mad long. I've been doing hella shit. I'm doing like three people's job. I want a raise, and this is why I deserve a raise because I do this X Y. And the thing is, as long as you have shit documented, bro, you're good money.
Right. If you they will be okay with paying you if you can
Mm-hmm.
show the value that you have been in bringing for the most part. Like there's always extra wiggle room with just
Always.
about every company. They won't let you know, And
Yeah, but they're all
sometimes it'll
yeah.
take it until like the very end when you're about to like walk out the door for them to be like, okay, we got you. But like, there's for depending on the corporation, but there's if you are valuable enough to them, they will find a way to make it work for you.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And it's like that's a conversation I had with my manager last year. I told him straight up. I was like, "Hey, like I'm looking to advance either in pay or change titles. I am looking outside of this role at the company. I mean, but if I'm able to stay in this role with get a new title, get a pay bump, a significant pay bump, I don't mind staying. But I'm letting you know right now, I am looking not outside the company, but outside this department because I mean, I feel like my skill set. I mean, I love this position, but I feel like I want more money. The fuck? That's it.
Right.
That's really
Well,
it. I want more money.
and that's the thing. Like every year, the cost of everything is going up. So
I,
like, if we're not
yep.
getting a raise, it's almost like it's almost like getting your pay cut almost.
Yeah. I mean, I get a small bump every year, but I want a big bump. This time I want a big bump. So give me a big bump. And so that's don't be afraid to do that. And my manager knows the work I do, so he's like, "Oh no, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna try and get this and da da da." I'm like, "Cool." The company is growing, but our department isn't adding bodies, so there's extra money. So
Right.
give me that money if you're not gonna
Right.
add extra bodies, and
Exactly.
let's go from there. Again, with the whole job thing, seeking. I mean, 2 weeks notice. That's a whole another taboo thing for
Yeah.
people. They're like, oh, you're supposed to. No, you're not supposed to. You don't have to,
Yeah.
because these jobs won't give you a 2 week notice when they're ready to let you go. They will just let you go.
Right. They'll tell you, sorry, we're making cuts to the department. Like my friend, there was an Arugas, right? Like close-ish to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was like on a random Tuesday morning, they get a text message saying that they weren't going to be opening. And so suddenly she does. That wasn't even that they let her go. They
Mm-hmm.
just didn't even tell her that they didn't even give her any sort of advance notice that they weren't going to be open. They just decided on a Tuesday that they were going to shut down that Arugas and not like not
Damn.
open anymore. Like at any given point in time, like they don't have to care about you
Yeah.
necessarily. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they're not going to be like, and you can kind of tell the place, right? They'll be like, yeah, man, hey, just like heads up, this is what's happening. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they will not give you the advance notice. So,
Yeah.
a
Most
2
jobs
weeks
don't care.
notice, like, yeah, like it's super, it depends on your relationship with the company. Like, if you feel like you're just another cog in the machine, like, I don't really care. But if it's, I might give I'll have at least hinted at it. I'll give some notice out of a sign of respect, maybe to a place that I liked working. I didn't leave on like bad terms necessarily, but like, hey, like you might need, like anticipate me not being here.
Yeah.
Other but another and most of the time, like you're not. I can probably guarantee most people aren't in that great necessarily of a place working in the company that they're gonna be like, um, here's your advance notice, sir, that I'm gonna be leaving. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
dude, you already been interviewing. You got the other job starting tomorrow. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like some jobs, like you can give them that 2 weeks notice, but a lot of them be like, "Hey, no, you can just leave, sign out of all your stuff, just you can go."
Right,
And
because then what are they gonna do for the next 2 weeks? They don't want to pay you to be complacent,
and
because you're just gonna coast for the last 2 weeks.
yeah, I mean, but a lot of times they, I've seen it where hey, we're hiring somebody for position. Hopefully, we can get somebody in before you leave, and you can kind of train them. Bitch, I'm not training nobody in this last week.
That's not my job.
Yeah, like nah, man. And
That's
that's
not
why,
in the
like,
description.
I tell people like, yo, if you come in on Monday, Friday's your last day. Just tell them that. Or Wednesday's your last day. So you have
Right.
enough time for you have a longer weekend for yourself. Fuck it. Because
You might as well.
like you give them a week notice. Like keep it moving because again, a lot of these jobs don't give a fuck and they'll be like, hey, you know what? Nah, you know what? Thanks for letting us know, but you don't need to be here for 2 weeks. You could just leave.
Right. And you're like, cool, okay.
I've seen that happen so many times where people thought like, oh, this is a great company, da 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 da, but like, I'm just giving my 2 weeks notice just in case I want to come back, and they're just like, yeah, no, fuck that, go ahead and leave, bye.
Yeah, it's, and that's the thing is like, at the end of the day, a lot of these companies, it's their, their bottom dollar. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they will prioritize profit over employees.
Yeah.
You know, like they'll be complacent and try to appease you. Maybe anything. Pizza party or whatever. Or they're like, we could consider. If you want to be a full virtual employee, we could consider. Doing that,
Mm-hmm.
within the next
Mm-hmm.
year, or after a 6 month, we'll do some arbitrary evaluation that they have no parameters for. Once you've shown us growth, then we can talk about more money or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it's just like,
Bruh.
that's so aggravating, like
Yeah.
that. I've seen that happen to people. Like, it's like, yeah, we'll see in x number of months. It's like, no, what have I been
No,
doing
yeah.
this whole time?
Yeah, but that kind of ties into relationship skills, because it's like forming bonds with certain people at work, communicating, things of that nature. So it's not like it seems like, hey, fuck you guys. It's more of a, I got to do better for myself, and I feel like you guys have shown me as much as possible, but I found something better, and they're just, they're okay with it. And it's like I'm big on not really having friends as your coworkers as your friends,
Hmm.
because a lot of people stab you in the back. Like, you can't trust the workplace shit. A lot of times you can't. You can keep people at arm's distance, but get them any closer, something may or may not happen. You tell them too much of your business, or it's like so much happens. So I'm more of the, like, let's, arm's length. I'll tell you enough, but that's it. The only person I'm probably like my manager, where I'm like, hey, I need to take off. Something's happening in my life. Da 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 da.
Right.
That's kind of the only person that I would tell, like, so they understand, like, oh, okay, cool. I'll tell everybody else not to bother you. Cool, say less. But like, relationship skills, again, the whole communicating, listening, learning to develop connections, um, resolving things in a healthy way. I mean, it ties in. I think it ties into all the skills personally. Um, but I mean, everybody communicates different. Everybody listens different. Everybody learns differently. Um, and not, a lot of people have small circles of people that they can trust, or big circles of people they can trust. Like, and you know, and it's hard once you get older. As you get older, it's like it's hard to maintain some of those friendships if it's not reciprocated.
Right. Mhm. It's sometimes the one thing that the challenging thing that I've learned in the past year or so,
Mm-hmm.
um, is I've the thing that's really hard to accept is knowing and accepting the limitations of what a connection or a friendship may be. And looking back on some of the friendships, relationships, I mean, in, like, the most generic of terms, but in your connections with friends and stuff, it's like that person, may be good for, like, if you want to forget about your life for a bit and hear about their drama, you know that's it. But you've accepted at a point, you're like, I'm not going to have the deep connection that I
Yeah.
want with so and so, because of XYZ. It's all about themselves. Or, like, I have friends who are, hide a lot of themselves. And you just need to understand that sometimes it's hard. Change is really hard for some people. um,
Yeah.
and so, knowing the extent of your friendship, you will feel a lot better. You won't feel like so much anxiety of, like, you know you won't feel as compelled to see that person or spend time with that person. I've been very selective with my time and the people that I want to spend time with in the last, year and a half, that I want to spend it with people that I'm going to enjoy myself around, that I can, genuinely connect with on a deeper level, who have, you know, at least relatively similar like worldviews to me. Like there's like a plane of understanding I feel like we have to be on when it comes to like understanding the world and the society in which we live, and
Yeah.
that it's
Mm-hmm.
like people like the big thing, the funny thing, like blowing up is on media is like the whole like you know, conservative whatever being a red flag for like a lot of women, and a lot of conservative dudes on dating apps like aren't being selective, and like women are pretty vocal about that. Like so it's interesting, but it's like you want people that are going to align with you, your friendships and your relationships when it comes to dating. You're going to want to select somebody whose life values line up a lot with the things that you want to do. Like, when you're adult, you don't have the time that you did, once
Nope.
you're like, you know, I started dating my girlfriend at, 27, 28, and I'm like, okay, I've had relationships, I've had situationships, and I'm like, and I'm past that, and I want like I'm okay. I'm ready for this, stable long-term relationship. And some people don't want that, and that's cool if you don't find that sort of thing fulfilling. But you want finding a partner is not just about, you don't have to like. A lot of people always talk about like settling, but it's not settling. You're
Mm.
finding a partner that you could be with, somebody that you're gonna have to love and be with for like the rest of your life. What are
Mm.
you going to do if you want to have a partner for the remainder of your lifetime? Like, how are you going to interact? How are you going to do you both see, if we one of you very clearly wants to have children, the other doesn't want to have children, it's going to be very hard to amend that,
Mm.
without, and you can have conversation about it, but it's different if it's like somebody wants to have a kid and the other's like, on the fence, I don't know, maybe.
Mm.
There are conversations you have to have about things like
Yeah.
that are kind of like that are deal breakers. Like when you're young, you're just like, yeah, we're having fun. I think you're cute. I'm cute too. Ba 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 ba. Let's do this and that. And then it's
Mhm.
like, you get to the point where you're like, I ain't got time for that. Like I did that. I'm good. I got it out of my system. Like I'm ready to lock it down now.
I think that the people that you surround yourself with are generally a reflection of you in
Mm,
some way or form. Um, and even the person you see yourself being with, they're essentially a reflection of you because you see some form of you in that person.
mm,
Um, and I feel like as we get older, yes, you're trying to be with somebody forever, but at the same time, you're not just picking anyone.
right.
You're very, 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 very selective because yes, I have my core group of friends now. Like, when you get older, people fall off, people, get added, but then you find that core group of people, and again, they're a reflection of you. So that person that is getting added is essentially somebody you actually like vibe with, and you could see yourself being like, okay, it's another me. Let's jump on the boat. Let's go.
you're like
That's-
you're a lot like me. I like that.
yeah,
Cool.
let's go. But yeah, but then that kind of jumps into our the next skill, essentially your self care skills, because a lot of things could be mental to you, where it's like, I'm not, I should communicate more, I should communicate less, or I should do
Mm,
this more, I should do this less. Oh, I'm scared to negotiate my salary because of this situation that happened before, or, I'm not really good with money because my dad wasn't good or my mom wasn't good, so
mm,
that means I'm not good. A lot of times that stuff could all be mental.
right.
And back to you, taking care of yourself and making sure you are good at the end of the day, like creating a routine for yourself to improve yourself, learn, educate yourself, educate yourself mentally and spiritually, and then just get better.
Mm. It's it's learning how to the self the better really when you the better you know and understand yourself and the ways that there are patterns within you, and like uh, how you react better is going to make doing everything else in your life, it's going to change a whole lot about everyday interactions, whether it's with people, whether it's work, whether it's money.
Hmm.
Like, I relatively recently, in the past few months, started, you know, seeing a therapist because there wasn't anything, there isn't anything necessarily like horribly wrong, but
Hmm.
in my time being in an emotionally intimate and vulnerable relationship, I've really realized there's some stuff that, like, oh, there's some deep stuff here, that I haven't resolved maybe. Um, like, I have a huge issue, like, sometimes with task and management, like, that function. Sorry. I have a I have a hard time kind of like sticking with it because maybe I'll start like, I start cleaning my living room and I'm like, oh, this goes in the kitchen. Da-da. Well, I guess I could, I bring it to the kitchen. Well, I guess I could do the
Hmm.
dishes right now, do the dishes, and I'm like, I've done five different things by the end of it and not completed one thing to the end. So
Yeah.
a
So
cool
so
trick
you're
that
you're
I,
you're all over the place.
right. So a cool, I haven't tested it a lot because it's a recent revelation, but my therapist was like, try this 3-minute rule. And I was like, okay, tell me more.
Hmm.
And he was like, set a timer for 3 minutes, whatever task you want to do or start cleaning. So let's say, the dishes. Set the timer for 3 minutes, go. And I was like, okay, it's low commitment. You have that buy-in. And then he's like, and then at 3-minute mark, when the timer goes off, you were already doing the task. So you're either like, I'm going to take maybe I need to take a 15-minute break or so
Hmm.
before I come back to this, or I've completed most of the task in 3 minutes, or most of the time it's probably not a task that actually takes 3 minutes. But then, you're just like, I'll just finish it because I'm already there. And
Yeah.
I was
Because
just like,
yeah.
that's insane because I struggle with like the household tasks and consistently doing things. And I'm like,
Hmm.
so I've created a list of like tasks that are relatively daily things for me to make sure that I do and keep up with, like, you know,
Hmm.
um, taking out my trash and making sure that the dishes are clean. And I do, all of these things relatively daily. And then I have like weekly things that I do. But it's like, it's learning ways to, you're learning how to hack your life, like in little
Yeah.
ways until you can figure out how to, you know, do that, and understanding your relationship with like yourself and how
Hmm.
you,
Yep.
you know, like, some people don't might not like the way that they feel in social situations, or how they connect with people, or
Hmm.
how, they feel at work, like burnout, how managing burnout and all of these other elements, like learning how to counteract them, or learning how to help get you through those emotions so that you can get to the core of it and like get back on track is like, so that's kind of where that's been the adventure for me lately, is trying to, little things like that. So like that 3-minute rule has been a little helpful so far because I'm like, man, I really don't want to, clean out, I don't want to clean the countertops or whatever. Hit the timer for 3 minutes, and I was like, that
Yeah.
took me like a minute to do. What's wrong with me, And it's like this thing. It's always like that millennial joke of like, oh, I hate making phone calls and I hate doing like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be on the phone. I don't want to do any of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, getting way better at. I used to hate taking phone calls, but now
Hmm.
I've gotten like, now I'm like, it's just a phone call. Like it's not gonna be. Nobody's gonna be like, what do you mean you haven't been to the doctor? Blah, 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 blah. Like nobody. They're just like, hey, cool, okay, did click, 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 clack. Okay, you have an appointment next week or whatever. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you, and I feel like all these encompass into life skills, and yeah, I mean, some of us may learn all of them. Some of us may only learn three of them, and figure out the rest later on.
Hmm.
But I think that they all intertwine with each other, and the more that you kind of work on yourself and learn about yourself and the things going on around you, I think all these things will improve.
Hmm.
But as we get to the end of this episode, what do you want to leave people with?
I would say that the internet is a fabulous place. Like there are people that do YouTube videos like on how to, if you struggle with tying a tie. There's this guy who that his like, dad, how do I? His whole channel is like, oh, how do I fix a flat? How do I do this? Or there's other stuff, like there's this guy who does like a 52-week homeowners checklist. Now that I'm in the house, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Sends an email out every week of what things to check on in the house, what to do. And like, so there, use calendars, write stuff down, make lists, and see, because I guarantee you any of the questions you've had or the fears that you have been the same fears that other people have had. So there's
Yep.
resources out there to be able to get you to the point where that won't be as big of an issue.
Yep, yep. No, I agree 100% on that. And that is all for this episode, guys. You guys can find me on all social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website at randomguykev.com. Don't forget to check in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.